Alright, so this is a quick video tutorial on how to create a character inside of ZBrush. So this is kind of trying to be a synopsis of what we've covered. I'm trying to go through it really quickly, but hopefully you can follow this and you'll be good to go. I'll try to do the hotkeys and all that too as a reminder, but this is supposed to be more of a review than starting from scratch and not knowing anything, okay? First off, you might end up, when you first load it up, you're probably going to have this on. That's the light box, so you can turn it on and off by this, or you hit the comma key. So if you want to turn that off, you turn it off here. A lot of you guys don't like this box or the head box over here, which I like that one and not that one, but you can just go to preferences, and then it's there's cam view and thumbnail, so you can just turn thumbnail off, and then cam view is this thing. Okay, so if you need to do that, that's what you're going to do. All right, so here we have the interface. If you accidentally draw something like this, all you got to do is make sure you're not in edit mode, and then just hit Control N. Okay. If for some reason you draw a shape and you're like, ah, crap, and you can keep drawing shapes, right? But let's say you hit T and now you're in 3D mode. So T is edit, or this button here. Just hit. If you want to get rid of everything, you hit Control N. That'll get rid of everything but the one that's the 3D model. But if you want to get rid of everything, just go back out of edit mode. So you can click that. Go ahead and switch, and then hit Control N, and that will clear the canvas. Okay, so if for some reason you do that, that's what that is. All right, let's go ahead and get into making our guy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Z spheres to build the base mesh. So to do that, I'm gonna go over here to where there's tools and click on this guy. Oop, and come on, there we go. And I'm gonna go Z sphere. Okay. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to click and drag. Now I like to hold shift because what it does is it snaps it into these increments. So I'm clicking and dragging. I'm going to hold shift, although it doesn't actually matter, and then I'm going to let go. Now this is flat. It's not in edit mode, so I have to be in edit mode to start working on it in 3D. So then go ahead and edit mode. Now the next thing I like to do, just so I can see my 3D world here, is I like to put a bunch of these things on. So first off, I like to put dynamic perspective. That just means it's going to have 1 point perspective for shortening. I also like to have the floor on. That way I can see the floor. Okay. And another thing I like to do is, because I don't really like it when it does this stupid rolling thing, right? That's kind of weird. Most of you guys probably also don't like that. The other thing I'm going to do is make sure that it only rotates on y-axis. Now, for some reason you did roll it, or you get the thing kind of weird, all you gotta do is, as you click and drag, just hold shift and it will snap to the nearest point of view. You can also click on these guys, and that will also work if you have this up here, okay? But once you do that, just go ahead and click on this here, and now it will rotate more like it does in Maya. So now you see it's not rolling the camera, okay? It's just merely panning around. Well, rotate when you get the idea, but it's not doing this. Okay. All right. So that's good. So just as a reminder, how to navigate is click and drag, not on the model, will rotate around the camera. Okay. Now I can see where the front is by using this, or you can see the little blue line here, and then the red is the x-axis. Okay. So that means that this is the front. All right. Now, to pan is Alt, click and drag, again, not on the model, right? Alt or Option if you're on a Mac, click and drag. Yep. Great. Now if you want to zoom in, you can't use the scroll wheel. I know that's weird, but it's Alt, click and drag. Alt, click and drag, and then let go of Alt. So like you start panning, but then let go, and then you'll start zooming in instead, which keep the mouse button down. It's kind of weird, but that's how it works. Okay. Now, the next thing you need to do is, and if for some reason you get out of frame, just hit F and that will frame. It's also, I think, this button here, okay? I think that should handle navigation for the most part. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to basically build out this Z-sphere dude, okay? But if I go to do it right now, you're going to see when I click, it's making it like this. I need to have X symmetry. You can do it one of two ways. I'll probably do more than that, but you can hit X, which will bring up symmetry, and now you can see how there's 2 dots, or you go up to transform, activate symmetry, and you can see it's already set to X, so that's great. Okay. Make sure up here, I'm going to make sure this is off and this is off. I want just Z add, because we're sculpting right now. Eventually, we're going to switch over to these guys, but right now it should be on Z add. All right. The other thing I'm going to do is, you see my brush size here? We use spacebar for all of our main settings here. Now we can get to all these over here and what have you, but it's easiest just to do here. So S is for brush size, and then U is for intensity. But I always just hold spacebar to do it. Okay, so when we're doing this, though, it's actually easiest to make this all the way to 1. You want just as small as it can be. That way you're not accidentally grabbing or moving things. Okay, I'm going to make just a generic human just because that's the easiest thing. I'll probably skip the hands just because, well, I'll do really basic hands because I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to do this quickly. All right, so we've now got X symmetry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here. You can see this is obviously, you can see that's the top, right? It's a little green line there. I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to go like this until it snaps to green. That means it's centered. I'm going to click and drag. Great, right? That's the top one. I'm going to click off, and then I'm going to go down here, and then I'm going to make sure it snaps to green. Click and drag. Okay, like that. Okay, click in like this. All right, so now the idea here is that this would be my hip, this would be my belly, and this would be my chest. Okay? So that's how we're going to treat it. Now, again, Z is front. I can also use this as a guide. So I'm going to look at from the side here. I like to hold shift to snap. And now what I'm going to do is, it's the same as Maya, Q, W, E, and R. So Q is draw, W is move, and then they actually do E for scale and R for rotate. So they flip that in comparison to what it would be in Maya or Unity or really any other program. Which, quite honestly, it makes more sense. I don't know why they ever switched it to begin with, but anyway. What I want to do is I'm just going to hit W, and I'm just going to kind of pull this up a little bit. I'm going to pull this one back a little bit, just because I want to have that nice little arch. Right now, he's got a big bottom, right? Big bottom girl. So we're going to go ahead, and we're going to make him have, make it smaller. So I'm going to hit E for scale, and I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. I'm going to rotate to the front, and I'm going to scale this up a little bit for a chest, okay? And we're going to say that's good. Now, if I want to preview this, and you should be constantly previewing it because it will crash on you, is hit A. That will show me a preview of what it's going to look like when it's skinned. So this is what we have so far, right? It's Mr. Peanut. Woo! Okay, I'm going to tap A again. So A like asp bin. Okay, so we got that. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and do the leg next. So I'm going to hit Q because that's the same thing as hitting draw. Okay, so I'm going to do Q, W, E, and R. Okay, just remember that. All right, so here I want to do the leg. This is my front. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to click and drag and do roughly the size of what I want my thigh to be. I'm hitting W for the move tool. I'm going to click and I want to go up as far as I can before it inverts. I don't want it to do that, okay? And I'll go to the side here and make sure it's a little bit more centered. That looks acceptable. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw another one. Hit Q. And draw another one like this. And go like that. That's going to actually end up being my ankle. I'm going to hit W now for the move tool. I'm going to pull this guy on down. Like that. I'm going to hold shift as I rotate, and I'm just going to make sure that he's got his legs under him. Okay, so, and I'm going to hit E for rotate, or for scale, and I'm going to scale it down a little bit. Alright, so rotate is not going to do any good on this mode, so just, obviously, don't bother. Okay, now I need to add an E, so I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the draw, or you can hit Q, like that. I'm going to hit W for the move, and I'm just going to pull this forward a little bit to give it kind of a leg kind of look, okay? I'm not going to spend a lot of time making this look good because I just want, I'm going to hit Q now for the draw tool. I just want to get this done kind of fast. Okay, so we'll go like that for the foot. And W. And I'm just going to pull this out. Let me see. How big is that? It's a little bit big. Like that. And then I'm going to hit Q and draw one in the middle here. W. Pull it down a little bit. And we'll pull this down just a touch. And then I'll hit Q. Like that. Alright, then I'll hit W, and I'm also going to push this in. It's just going to give him a little bit more of a heel. So if I hit A, you can see it's going to have something like this, right? Those are pretty nice legs, right? It's got some gams on them. Okay. Hit A again to go back. Now we're going to go ahead and let's do the head next, just to make it easier. So I'm already on Q, so I'm just going to go up here and make sure it snaps to green. So, see? Didn't get it that time. Let's try again. There you go. Make sure it's centered and that you only end up with one. So this is going to be the base of my neck. So this is going to be the bottom of the neck. So I'm going to make it as big as the neck should be and get it as close as I can before it does that. Good. Hit Q to draw a new one. Go up top again and draw another one. This is going to be the top of my neck. right? For every joint chain, or every chain, there should be a top and a bottom. Okay, so we'll go like that. His neck's not going to be too awful long. Let's go to the side here. This is the front. And this should go a little bit more forward. And I'm going to hit E for scale. And I'm just going to scale this up a little bit because his neck looks a little thin to me. And scale that up a little bit. And W, move that down. Looks like my laundry's done. Okay, good. So we'll say that looks good. And not really, but I don't really care. Okay, like that. And then we're going to hit Q again. And I'm just going to again go up here. This will be my head. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to do it like this. We'll retopologize it and make it look nicer because we'll call that good. It's kind of a big head, but whatever. Pull that a little bit forward. Call that good. Okay, so now let's do the arms. Those are usually really annoying, so I'll hit Q for the draw tool. I'm going to go over here, click and drag roughly to what I want the size of the shoulder. So this is going to represent the where the arm goes in. Okay, hit W for the move tool. I'm going to push this guy in. Good. And then hit Q for the draw tool. Click and drag to roughly where I want the wrist size to be. So we'll say that. Go this way, W. I'm going to take this and pull it down. Notice, again, that I don't have my draw size big. Because if it's big, when I go to grab it, see how it grabs both? Because those are all within the brush size scale. That's why I make this 1. Because it makes it easier so I don't accidentally grab this 2. I'm going to pull this down. Like so. Let's go a little bit farther. Oops. A little bit farther. And let's scale it down a little bit. Looks a little bit thick. Pull it up a little bit. We'll say like that. Okay. Now I'm just gonna, let's go to the side here. Let's go a little more like this. Alright. Okay. So one of the things I want is I want his body to be leaning forward. It looks a little bit like he's leaning back. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna E for rotate. And I'm gonna click on this. Not that one, sorry. I have to do this. Am I on the right one? Come on. Okay, I wanted the top part. Okay. We'll rotate this back. So if you click on the actual sphere, it doesn't do anything. But if you click on the bone, the bone that's going across, not the joint, you can click and you can actually rotate that. Just so you know. So I'm going to rotate that a little bit back. And then we'll take this. I'm going to click on this part of the bone and lean that forward a little bit. And that's too much. Let's undo it. That looks okay. We'll go with that. Okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead. So if you need to, you can actually do things, like I said, with the bones and not just the Z-spheres themselves. Okay. I'm going to hit Q for the draw. And I'm just going to put one right in the elbow. Looks great. W. And we'll go like this. And I'm just going to push it back a little bit. And apparently it also went down, which I didn't really want. So, okay. Didn't mean to do that either, but whatever. That's good enough. Okay, so now I'm just going to do the hand. And I'm going to do a real rough hand just so you get the idea, because I don't want to spend a bunch of time on it because it's annoying. Okay. So basically what you got to do is make the base of each one. You do the same thing we did with everything else, but I'm just going to push it in. Oops. Push this guy in. All right, then the Q. I like to just do all of them first. Like so. W, move that, push that in. I feel like that's a little bit small. I'm just going to E for scale. All right, hit Q again. And we'll just do another one. W, push that in. And then, oh, I apparently must have grabbed that. Didn't mean to. I'm just going to do 4 fingers. I'm just going to give him 3 fingers on here because I don't want to do a bunch. So we'll just do another one here. Oops, and that one's bigger than the rest. Let's make this a touch. Oops, thought I was on scale. All right, and I thought I was on scale. There we go, make that one a little bit bigger. I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller because this is meant to be a pinky. And we'll move that over like that. All right, let's see what we got. And not super great. So I'm just going to go ahead and just try to move these fingers more where I want them to actually be. Oops. Okay, move it down. And take you. Now it's got like dinosaur looking fingers. Okay, so we'll say something like that. Imagine I did a good job. So I'm going to go back to Q and just draw this one out. W. Pull that guy out. Q. Alright. W. Pull this guy out. Q. Alright. W. Pull it out. And Q. W. Pull that guy out. E for scale. It's a little bit thin. This one's a little bit thick. This one's a little bit thin. W, this guy's got to come down a little bit. Okay. So now if you look, it doesn't look very good, so I just need to make some adjustments. So this should be out more, this one should be out more, and this should definitely be out more. So just got to go side to side to side and just get these positioned in such a way that makes sense. Okay. Come out this way a little bit. Imagine I did a good job. Then I just like to put one knuckle in each one all the way around. W. Okay. All right, and good. Okay, we're going to say I did a good job. I didn't, but we can say that. Okay, so we got this crappy looking guy. If I hit A, you will see he'll turn into the thing, okay? Now, if for some reason, because this could have occasionally happened, should have mentioned this earlier, let's say there's something I just didn't like. So let's say I don't like his knee. If I want to get rid of it, just make sure you're on the draw mode, Q. If you hold Alt and click on it, that will actually remove a Z sphere. So if I want to get rid of like a whole leg here, I just got to hold Alt and click and click and click, and I could just go all the way up and remove it. So if for some reason you do notice that like it crashes or something, or it's not looking the right way, you can go through and just delete like arm, like however far you have to go until it doesn't do it anymore, and then rebuild that section. Okay. So anyway, that's what we want. That looks fine. All right. So now what I'm going to do is try to move this thing over there. Okay, good. Adaptive skin is actually what's being built here when we hit A. All right, you can see highlights. So what I want to do is I want to take the Dynamesh all the way to 0. 0, and I'll leave the density at 2. That's fine. I'm going to hit A, and so now you can see it. That looks great. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click to make Polymesh 3D. That makes it sculptable. You can sculpt it on here. Give me a second. Okay. You actually can sculpt on top of this, but it's not really a model. Like, you can't do things later on, so you need to make it Polymesh 3D. So you just go up here, click. So just remember, you click and drag to move this. It's really weird. I'm just going to minimize that. Make Polymesh 3D, and you're going to see now you're going to end up with a new tool, but it's the same guy. Same guy that you know and love. And now he looks like this. Okay. So imagine I did a nice job. So, what I want to do is this. I want to be able to take this character and just make him look better. So, now we can start sculpting, what we have. I am actually going to stop this video because this is a good stopping part. So I would save it here if I were you. And then the next one, I'm going to go through and basically sculpt him. And then probably the one after that, we'll do texturing. But that way it'll be like just a couple of videos. It might be a little bit easier to digest that way. Okay, so we're going to call this good. We have our base mesh. We just need to basically go through and do the rest.